Welcome, everyone, to Your Lane Talk Show with your coach, Chryshawnda, broadcasting from beautiful Nassau, Bahamas. This is the second Sunday in the year 2025. I'm glad to be in your company once again. God is so good, y'all. Many did not make it to see this day, but I give thanks and praise that we are here and we are in the land of the living. And Your Lane Talk Show is ready to go. And for those who are tuning into the show for the first time, where have you been? Friend, where have you been? Don't worry, we're glad that you're here nonetheless. Thank you so much and welcome. The show is all about educating, empowering, and encouraging women of all ages. Of course, we're going to ensure that you're living your best life while you're here and you're listening. All right. Over the years, we've tackled so many topics that matter to us as women, some serious, some fun, but all were beneficial to ensure that we are whole. All right. We are complete, holistic women. And let me tell you, we are pumped for what's coming in this year, God's willing. We got a topic. If you have a topic that we haven't covered as yet, don't be shy. Call or text us at 1-242-376-8689. We'd love to hear from you because let's be real, the show is all about you. It's us, right? Right. So we've covered health and we've covered intimacy, sexual intimacy. We've covered spirituality. We've covered divorce and love and singleness and dating and life after death in a marriage and with spouses. And we've covered so many things, but yet we still are on health, things about health and men's health. We've had urologists on the show. I mean, it's phenomenal. Now, if you want to go and see what some of the topics may consist of, you can go on YouTube and type in Coach Chryshawnda, all right, to look at the various topics that we have covered thus far. And of course, while you're there, like and subscribe. All right, this January, we're starting the year strong with the Reignite series, a month dedicated to helping you set goals, find balance, and reignite every area of your life. Last week on episode 116, Reigniting Your Goals for a Balanced Life was incredible. We had in studio Coach Raquel Mins, Coach Ruth D, and entrepreneur Latrell King holding it down to talk to us about setting our goals. Man, that was such a hot show. I've learned so much, and I'm actually not going to tell y'all nothing because, first of all, y'all need to have either listened or need to go and listen. All right. Because, I mean, to be honest with you, there are so many people who started the year excited or started last year 2024 excited, and then by December or so they get despondent, they shy off, they get discouraged because they have not completed, the assignment or the goals that they had set out for. And these ladies came back in, they started the year out the gate saying, look, yeah, that it doesn't matter if you haven't started, if you haven't completed it, continue doing what you're doing, continue working on it, especially if you believer, you know that he who has begun a good work in you shall complete it until that time. So of course, don't listen here, just continue to present it to God and continue working on it. Go back on the shelf and go dust off all the different goals and the different there was an entrepreneur who said she kept on getting rejected. I think 26 times she tried to sell her product to various platforms, various organizations, and they kept telling her no. And God transferred her off of this island and into the United States where she got her first yes. Okay. So you keep on knocking on doors if you need to. Continue pushing and pushing and pushing and going and going and going until you get your yes. All right. Now, if you want to know more about that juicy stuff, go to episode 116, Reigniting Your Goals for a Balanced Life, and you will hear all of that there. All right. Now, today we have an episode about your health, your energy, and your vitality. Today's topic is reigniting your vitality, setting goals for a healthier you. Now, if you're ready to embrace a healthier, more vibrant version of yourself, you're in the right place. All right. So we'll explore how to get realistic goals and set realistic goals. We're going to build habits that last and take actionable steps toward a stronger, more energized you. And this who need it. Ting! This who need it now. Throughout the few weeks, I think we have 2 more weeks left. We'll cover reigniting your love life, goal setting for stronger, more fulfilling relationships. And with that, we'll have Pastor Kevin and his beautiful wife, Deidre Ewing, on next week's show, and ending the month with reigniting your faith, setting spiritual goals for a purpose driven year. Um, our guest for that day is Tamara Sims. I am so excited. She's more excited than me, y'all. Trust me. She's on fire. If you have never heard Tamara's testimony, and I'm like, God, I'm not even going to prepare questions for her because it's so much different things that I can pull from with her. Her faith is phenomenal. I tell you no lie. She is literally, when the Bible says you know them by their fruit, you could see the fruit. All right. If resilient was a person, like, I mean, literally her face would be on the side of the definition of that. And I'm excited because I know that there are some things in her that we all need to glean from and learn from. So when she comes on board, y'all get your paper and pen ready. All right. Each episode, of course, is designed to equip and inspire you to make 2025 your best year yet. That's the goal. That's the purpose, right? For this entire series. Your Lane Talk Show has various ways that we can be heard via radio, which is Star 106.5 FM, channel 976 on cable. And you can watch us on Facebook on Your Lane Life Coaching's Facebook page. You can also watch us on YouTube on Coach Chryshawnda's YouTube page. Or for those who technical like us, we have the In Faith app mobile. So In Faith app has us live there as well. Today, I'm joined by these passionate, wonderful ladies, these coaches that will be, I mean, they're coming with knowledge and skills and insight. And, it's good when you hear people and you actually see how they look. So it's different because you have a lot of people who talk about they fitness coaches and they this coach and that coach, and then they no, I ain't judging. I ain't judging. But then you look at them and be like, Miss, you what you doing? And I can leave it there. But with these ladies, they look fit, they look healthy. I don't even know if Coach Chryshawnda wearing any makeup because her face is so smooth. I think that's all the water that she's been drinking. I don't know if you can't really see Coach T too well on there, but I can tell you she's fit and firm. She got little muscles if you look good. But listen, they ready to talk to us. Now, I want people who look the part. All right. They ain't just telling me something.
That's
You
right.
got to look and see that they are literally health coaches. All right. So this is what we have going on today. Your Lane episode, what are we? Episode 117 now. 117,
Wow.
Reigniting Your Vitality, Setting Goals for a Healthier Life, is brought to you by John Shoe Store and Accessories, Your Lane Life Coaching, Mahatma Rice, distributed by Asa H. Pritchard. Now, if you're cooking peas and rice, Konkan rice, yellow or white rice, for the best results, it must be Mahatma Rice. Look for Mahatma Gold, Long Grain, Jasmine, Basmati, yellow rice, or for a healthier option, Mahatma brown rice in a food store near you. Mahatma Rice, distributed by Asa H. Pritchard. We're also sponsored by Emmanuel Medical Center. Now, Medical Center specializes in annual physicals, health certificates, hypertension, diabetes, and cholesterol management, child and adolescent health care, primary health care for adults, screening and management of sexually transmitted infections, and diagnosis and treatment for mental disorders. Emmanuel Medical Center helping you achieve wellness. You can give them a call at 393-9355. And we're also sponsored by YBE Promotions. YBE Promotions is having a Praise Fest concert. He's in the room featuring Maverick City's Naomi Rain and friends coming up this Friday, January 31st. Also performing Bahamian artists Oslane Jadort, Davian Chase, E-Man, My Girl Tara T. Newton, hey, and so much more. Music by DJ Godson. And this is going to be one hot concert, okay? At the Nassau Cruise Port Amphitheater. Tickets start at $75, and you can get your tickets at New Birth Ministries, Fire Trail Road, and Classy Cuts, Beauty Salon, East Street South. Or you can tune in. I mean, as simple as that. You could go buy your tickets. That's $150 for two tickets there. Or you could tune into a show here, Your Lane Talk Show. Take notes and answer the question at the end of the show. Write this number down because you're going to need it: 376-8689. There are going to be some questions that I ask at the end that I want you to text the answer to. And the first person to text the correct answers to me will win 2 VIP tickets. All right. 2 VIP tickets. And if y'all ain't want to do it, I can text my own self and I can get my 3 answers there so I could win them 2 VIP tickets because y'all ain't serious. All right. Stay tuned for that. Okay. So thank you to my sponsors. Now we're going to go straight into the guests because that's what we came here for, right? Of course, we wanted to make sure that our sponsors were well taken care of, and I'm grateful for each and every one of them because without them, of course, then we ain't got no show. Okay. Now, our first guest, Chryshawnda, is a Bahamian health and wellness expert. All right. She's a nutrition coach and transformational strategist who uses her expertise and experiences to help women develop a sustainable health and wholeness lifestyle. Her life and impact have traversed spheres of faith, health, and self improvement. Her contributions to the wellness space allowed her to conduct workshops and information sessions for several online ministries, nonprofit organizations, and wellness retreats. She hopes to continue leaving an indelible mark in the wellness world, women's health, and faith realms. I'm so excited to talk to Coach Chryshawnda Adams today. And our next guest is Coach T. Coach T, and I'm sure she knows, I'll try my best not to call her special ops Tiffany today. So we're going to stick with Coach T. She is the founder of the Whole Her, and she's a passionate advocate for holistic wellness, blending physical fitness, mental strength, and spiritual growth to empower individuals to become their best selves. With years of experience as a strength and conditioning coach, Coach T brings her expertise to athletes, helping them unlock their full potential and both on and off the court. Through the Whole Her, which stands for health, empowerment, and restoration, Coach T's mission is to inspire individuals to prioritize wholeness by connecting the mind, body, and spirit. She believes that true transformation comes from aligning these 3 pillars, enabling people to achieve lasting fulfillment, resilience, and purpose. Whether training athletes to excel in competition, leading workshops on mental toughness, or encouraging spiritual growth through faith based principles, Coach T is dedicated to helping others live balanced and impactful lives. With her unique approach, she not only develops strong athletes, but also cultivates confident, empowered individuals ready to thrive in every area of life. Now, Coach T is the wife of Sean Sessions of 20 years. That's a long time. And the mother of 2 beautiful children. So I welcome both of you, Coach T, which is Tiffany Sessions, Coach Tiffany Sessions. We'll call her Coach T today, and Coach Chryshawnda Adams. Thank you so much for being a part of Your Lane Talk Show. Welcome, ladies.
It's a pleasure being here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming, both of you, and thank you for being present. So we're gonna break the ice today. We're first of all, I have to do this. Um, Coach Chryshawnda, this I don't know if you ever tune into your Lane Talk Show, but whenever I do have a married person on my show, I give them a couple of seconds just to big up, and I use the term big up because that's our term here,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
big up their spouse. So
Okay.
without further ado, Coach T know how this thing go. So I haven't even tell her what she needs to do. There you go, mom. Go right ahead.
First of all, I would like to give a big up to my husband, Sean Sessions.
Beautiful.
Babe, without you, there was nothing I could do. He literally is the inspiration, the backbone, holds me up, to support me, to do all of this. Like, I would have probably never, I would have been a doctor somewhere traveling, doing surgery. But thank you so much. These 20 years has been so wonderful. And thank you, so I was gonna say Swat Trish, Coach Trish, for this opportunity.
Excellent,
Nice.
excellent, excellent. Now, Coach, when the time is right, either Lord will make it happen. But when that time come
There
and
you
you come
go.
back, exactly, we know.
I got you.
Yeah. All right.
We
All
know.
right. So let's break the ice real quick. I wanted to ask a question. I'll start with Coach T first. What inspired you to become a health coach, and what do you love most about what you do?
First, I love changing lives. I love seeing someone be better, being that much closer to their potential, to their purpose, to just what they're supposed to do. Two, it started with a problem. I do not like generational illnesses. And in my family bloodline was a lot of diseases, a lot of illnesses, and probably a lot of short-term lives or lives ended early. And in that, I began to live my life to where I wouldn't have that issue. I didn't like taking pills. I still don't like taking medicine. So it was like, I got to live to where I don't do this. That unfolded when I had children. My son is, well, both now, is an athlete. And we had to find different coaches, had to go different places. And I was there and I was like, I really loved it. I really liked being involved. I was probably one of the only women there in a whole guy thing being involved. And one of the trainers, who's actually a NFL trainer now, he was like, "You should really do this." But I didn't take it seriously because I'm like, I'm trying to be a doctor. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. I don't think I want to do that. And then I got involved in the schools, and I was actually helping changing children's lives, people who had no motor skills, who couldn't run, who couldn't walk without being tired. And I started encouraging them, started seeing that change, and it was like, it may be time to commit to this. But also, even when I was in the gym, I would just help people. They would always come to me. So it just kind of formed really unintentionally, because it wasn't what I wanted to do, definitely, but I'm in love with it now, and that's how it came about.
That's wonderful. Nothing goes wasted. Hey, nothing.
Not one thing.
Not one thing goes wasted. Coach Chryshawnda, what about you? What
Um,
inspired you?
I just want to piggyback off her last statement when she
Hmm.
talked about everything just kind of flowed and
Yeah.
came together. And I think that's similar to like when we walk with Yahweh, things just kind of find us.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we stop reaching for things and looking for things, and things kind of find us.
Mhm.
So two things. I left here and I went to college and I studied kinesiology, which is exercise science for
Mhm.
people that aren't familiar with the terminology.
That's
So
me
it's
on people. Yeah.
so it's
Mhm.
basically exercise science. So I have a diploma in that where we learned how to do exercise programming, learned about the body anatomy and physiology. But outside of that, beyond that, we also learned how to cater to the whole person
Mhm.
Yeah.
because even with physical activity, that's also connected emotionally, that's connected in just different aspects. And so
Mhm.
they teach us how to cater to the whole person outside of the exercise programming. Um, I think that's what sparked that's what made me more intrigued
Yeah.
about this field. But having to go on that journey and also go on that journey with myself,
Mhm.
I think that's what actually made me a little bit more invested in
Mm.
helping others because I too struggled with digestive issues, gut
Mhm.
issues. That was a thing for me for a long while.
Mhm.
I was almost in denial because I'm
Mhm.
like, I never had these things happening to me. Like, I was not had no intolerance to dairy, and I
Mhm.
didn't, and now all of these things are happening and my body's not responding well, and so I had to take more investment in myself and my own well-being. And I think as I went on that journey,
Mhm.
um, I became more, invested in wanting to help others.
Mhm.
I also took up integrative nutrition. I got a certification in integrative nutrition because, like I said, one thing led to the next,
Yeah.
and now we're here.
Wow. Wow.
Now we're here. And so for most people, you'd hear them if you ask them like what made you passionate about it. Sometimes they underwent an experience,
Right.
so they had this like overwhelming experience that actually lead them into this, and that's what it was for me. And so I've actually journeyed through this.
Wow.
I've journeyed through healing my gut, I've journeyed through changing my diet, I've journeyed through actually, because to tell you the truth, people grow up to be doctors and dentists and thing like that. Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
that wasn't me. Being a health coach wasn't in the lineup.
Mhm.
Like, that wasn't something, like, people ask you like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Health coach don't, like, that's not
No.
something
No.
that
No one
rolls
says,
off the
"Ah,
tongue.
me, I want to be a health coach." No.
That's not something that
Yeah.
rolls off the tongue,
Yeah.
like. And so I believe that it was very much God ordained, for me to go on that path and on that
Yeah.
journey to end up here.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm done. I think I'm gonna be journeying for a while.
Absolutely.
Um, to become the expert that I know that he has called me to be, and to help more people. And so I'm very passionate and also invested. I'm invested in seeing healthier people, a healthier culture,
Yeah.
especially in the Bahamas, where that's not very widely known,
That's not.
or
No.
like that's not something that we actually take more, and like that we're actually invested in.
Yeah.
And so I am really really excited to pour more in the community in that way.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think it just became a part of me because of the journey that I was on.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So both of you, your steps were definitely ordered, I must say, and it's quite evident. But I know that, this year, this is 2025, every year around January, the beginning, probably the ending part of December, the beginning of January, I was like, okay, I have some health goals that I want to do. And they have like these little parties where they just have the, what you call it, the drawing
The
board, the,
vision
the vision
board.
board
Yeah.
parties. And it's like, oh, they cut out the little slim woman in the magazine and say, I want to be like, ha, and they take out the little bikini and they put it on the fridge and say, listen, okay, this is what I'm gonna use so that
By
I can make
summer,
sure
yeah.
that I can get in this bikini by summer. All right.
Yes.
Past that this year.
Hopefully, because that's what y'all are here for. So this is what we need. Now, one of the things I want to ask though, what do you think? And I probably asked Coach T this, and this is another question I think I'm going to ask you because we're talking about different cultures here. So this is a question for both of you. All right. What do you think are the biggest challenges, Coach T, that people face when trying to set and achieve health goals?
Realistic goals, first of all. Usually they set these huge goals that people who's worked out almost their whole life or for at least, a consistent amount of times for themselves, not realizing like where they are personal, like where am I, to
Hmm.
where I can actually set a goal that I could probably literally follow for the next 6 months, 3 months.
Yeah.
Some people need to work with 30 days, and some need to work with what can I get done this week. I think that's the hugest obstacle when it comes to people setting goals, in which they wait till January when tomorrow is the day, or today if you have time. But I believe the one of the biggest obstacles is realizing where you are and what is the realistic goal for who you are, your schedule, and your lifestyle. Because when we look at it, it's not a challenge, it's not a day, it's not a fad diet, it's literally a lifestyle that's going to change how you are and who you are inwardly, and how you are and who you are and how far you can go in life.
I love that. And Coach Chryshawnda, like how can we be practical with this? Like how can you break this down? I know you understood what she said because she was like,
No, because
but
that's
let's
exactly what I was gonna go
yeah,
to
but
as
can
well.
we just narrow it down? Yeah, just in layman terms and down to practical where I could say, okay, yeah, okay, it's fine that I could be realistic, but how do I be realistic for someone as a parent who
Mm.
mother of three or who's always busy and how is this practical
I
for
mean,
me?
exactly that. The first thing I would say, which I usually have to go through, I sit in sessions with people all the time where sometimes they come for like nutritional guidance.
Hmm.
And most times we end up breaking down their schedule.
Yeah.
And because people don't understand, like, what's happening on the outside is also affecting what's happening on the inside, and how
Hmm.
you're making choices and how you're moving through the world. So being more that's what helps you to be more realistic,
Hmm.
is actually accepting that this is my life, like this is the life that I'm living, that
Yeah.
I have to be home by a certain time to get my kids ready for school, um or I have to leave work at a certain time to go pick up my kids. Like,
Hmm.
what is actually happening in your life, so that
Hmm.
you know that this is what's affecting, or these are the things that are actually affecting my decisions and my
Hmm. Hmm.
choices. And I think once we do that, we'll be able to make more realistic goals,
Yeah.
and also be a little bit more consistent. I think one of the questions, because I ask questions now and again on my Instagram page, like, what are the challenges that you'd have, as it relates to keeping your goals and stuff like that, and most people would say consistency.
Mm.
And the lack of consistency, because consistency is a skill,
Right.
so it has
Yeah.
to be developed over a period of time. And so the lack of consistency, like my good coach here
Hmm.
said, is that your goal is just so big, it's so vast. And so you break it down into smaller pieces. So you want to lose 30 pounds by because you have the smart girls. Let's be specific. If you want to lose 30 pounds by, let's say, in 2 months or 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
realistic, may not,
It depends.
it depends. It
Yeah.
depends on the person. I don't
Yeah.
know how
I'm gonna
realistic.
ask you.
I don't know how realistic that is.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just say that. Um, what your smaller goals would look like is, what do I need to do this week to lose
Yeah.
at least 1 or 2 pounds?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how am I going to lose 2 pounds this week? Or you do the math. Okay, if I want to lose it by whatever time frame you give yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you divide that by the amount of days. Like, okay, so now I know I need to lose 5 pounds per week,
Mm-hmm.
or 2 pounds per week. How am I? What do I need to do that? And
Right.
looking at your life realistically, am I able to do that? What it takes?
That's
Mm-hmm.
yes.
I don't think we think about, we don't conceptualize what goal setting actually looks like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so that it can actually give us the results that we're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, one, just to backtrack, one is actually being honest and taking good stock of what your life
Yeah.
entails,
Your
what's
lifestyle.
actually happening in your life,
Mm-hmm.
being honest about that, and breaking down those big goals into smaller bite-sized
Mm.
goals. So like I said, if you want to lose 20 pounds or 30 pounds, be a little bit more realistic about how I can do that weekly, what I need to do to lose a couple pounds weekly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that. Coach T, you sound like you wanted to bite off of that, piggyback off of that a little while, or you want to move on?
I did, because a couple things that she mentioned that was really, really good.
Yeah.
And I kind of deal with the house mom or the wife or whatever, the busy mom, the busy wife, because I was one. I was literally going to the gym at like 1 or 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when the space allowed, because
Right.
I was so busy. I had a son that was in sports full time. I had a full time job, and then I had a husband, and we had all ministry and everything going on. So I had to find my way. So that was so good. What she said is in realizing, like, taking your schedule, and then what will you commit to? What in
Mhm.
your schedule? Like, will you commit, if the only time that you have, will you commit to waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning? Will you commit to going to the gym at 12 o'clock? If Planet Fitness is open at 24 hours, will you commit using that 24-hour clock? And if not,
Yeah.
then is the goal that you set really realistic?
Yeah.
Are you committed to doing the things to lose the 30 pounds?
Yeah.
Maybe you don't need to look at pounds. Maybe you need to look at, let me do something, let me move more than I usually do. Let
Mm.
me
Yeah.
add 2-day workout than, trying to have a whole regiment. Let me commit to going to the gym before I actually hire a trainer. Like, are these things realistic? And I think a lot of times, and then social media doesn't help. We have influencers that, they influence, and which is
Yeah.
good. But a lot of times we look at their goals and their routines, and we don't really put it in perspective of who we are, what we have going on, and how much we can really commit. So that leads to a role of letdown, that leads to a role of quitting, yo-yo dieting, the quick fixes, and they're just not healthy at all. So that
I
was
I
really on that.
I
I
want to
love
add
that.
something. Oh,
I
shoot. I
Go
want to
ahead.
add something
Okay,
quick.
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I wanted to also add that, also not
Mhm.
changing too many things at once. I know that
Yes.
there's science there's behind how the brain actually forms habits.
Yeah.
And so actually, if you try to change like 5 things at once, maybe only 2 of those things are going to stick,
Mm.
because the brain can only concentrate on 2 things at one
I
time,
like that.
right? And so, like, just try. Maybe you don't need to change everything all at once. Maybe I can't do the sleep, try to get the go to bed at a certain time.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm not there to build that habit yet. Maybe I'll start with just the eating,
Mm.
you
Yeah.
know or
Yeah.
I'll start with just the eating and the moving. But
Yeah.
if you try to implement all of them all at once, you'd find that something is not going to stick,
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
some things are not going to stick, and
Yeah.
then maybe the other things are going to fall through.
Yeah.
So, just try to, you don't need to focus on everything all at once.
Right.
That's the thing. That's what I'm trying to
That's
say.
So
really
let's say people say, okay, I want to focus on eating habits, because that's where they normally start first. They say,
Mm.
okay, well, I didn't eat all the turkey and the ham and the peas and rice and macaroni and thing. collard greens, and well, I don't really not that much, the American way and then our way, right? So let's say they want to start with the eating habits. And so what are some of the common mistakes people make when trying to improve their eating habits, especially like in the month of January?
You want to go first, or you want me to go
Trying
first?
to improve their eating habits.
Yes.
I think my mind automatically went to dieting.
Right.
Like a lot of
Yes.
people, they want to cut out like a lot of things because
Yes.
you consumed so much during the holidays. So there is like one extreme to the next.
Mm-hmm.
So you've consumed so much during the holidays. Now you want to
Oh,
lean
yeah.
hard into cutting out so much things,
Mm-hmm.
and then you end up back into that regime of, or even back to the routines that you had before,
I
the
call
the,
it a
the
rut.
ways that yeah,
Yeah.
the ways that you once had, you end up falling back into those things,
Yeah.
similar to what she calls a yo-yo diet. And
Yeah.
so you end up dieting so hard by cutting out so much things, and then by the end of the whatever challenge you're on, because there's always a challenge
Mm-hmm.
somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
you're on a challenge or you're doing something for X amount of weeks, you fall back into your old habits,
Yeah.
right? Because you've been over restricting yourself of so many things so long. Now your body is excited to revert back to those things. And so you end up binging on the things that you once had. So I
Yeah.
think that is one of the things that I find that people do, especially in January. We are very, I don't know, I feel like we are very extreme people. Very
Very,
extreme.
yes.
I want to stick a pin right here because I had to I remember something, and I'm guilty of this, and so I'm actually learning. And we're gonna take a break, but just before we take a break, I just want to just put this pin here for wives who are tuning in, especially if your husband says to you, "Hey, I am changing my diet," or I'm trying to improve to eat healthier. Try to avoid the things that he likes, like the cake and all this other stuff.
Mhm.
Try not putting them inside the house. You know what I mean? To cause him to
Support.
look, to support the thing that he's
Yes.
trying not to indulge in. My producer say, preach, preach. So hopefully he's gonna blast this up for his wife to hear when he plays the rerun tomorrow. But that's something that I had to learn too. And guess what? Holy Spirit had to remind me of that. First of all, before Holy Spirit reminded me, my husband told me, he's like, his thing was, man, you can't put all this rice on the plate here. You see what I try to tell you? What I try to-" and because I'm so used to putting, two big scoops of rice. Now he said, hey, no, you just do like half of that or less than half of that. Just give me the vegetables. Just give me, you know what I mean? I'll have some protein on the plate, but I'm just so used to giving him what I used to before. And how is it being a helpmeet? How can I be a helpmeet and still
If
allowing
you're
him to
not,
indulge in
yeah.
something that he's trying to avoid? And so it's like I'm playing, I'm on the side with the enemy here. That's how I'm looking at it now because I want to help him to improve his health, but then I'm still giving him the things that I think that he desires. And I like when he say my food tastes good, so that's probably why I try to put more on it.
Right.
But hey, I gotta sacrifice that hair, and then he'll still say it, mind you. But that's just a little nugget that I wanted to stick in there. Hey, if especially if you're the one helping him, wives, let's be more aware of what we're doing, what we're purchasing and placing in the house, and aware of our meals. Because we're going to talk a bit about meals as well. But
Okay.
okay, so if you know that both of you are trying to do something, let's trying to improve your health and your dieting. Let's try to purchase healthier alternatives versus the same thing from 2024 and talking about we just gonna eat little portions of it once in a while. Anyway, we can talk about that after this break. Let's take a quick break and then we'll get back. So big up to everyone tuning in. Thank you so much for where you're tuning in from. Please post where you're tuning in from in the group, in the Facebook. You're tuning in from. I know we have a lot of people from Georgia. Yeah, we have a lot of Bahamians. Obviously, you can pick up your flag, Bahamian 242. People from all over the world listening and tuning in. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's show. Coach T got her supporters as always. Nothing changed there because listen, yeah, it's a sisterhood thing, and that's how we do it. Chryshawnda, but 100 people, 100,000 people. All right,
Oh
she
no.
got her crew. Listen, yeah, these two. Honestly, let me just take a moment to thank The persons who assisted me on Facebook, that was about 2 weeks ago, maybe, when the question asked as I was preparing for this month, for January. So it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I asked the question, hey, I'm looking for real health coaches, who know their stuff, who'll be able to talk about, health goals for 2025. And when I tell you, Coach T and Chryshawnda's name came up like 1,000 times. All right. It's like, okay, obviously these people know I have to give the people what they want. All right. It's as simple as that. I had to give the people what they want. And so thank you so much for those who have suggested these names, because so far they've been blessing me tremendously. So I can imagine what they've been doing for those who are more health conscious than I am, because I just getting there. I reached there yet. All right. And I also wanted to say too, which is also important. This is what Coach Krishan and I were speaking about, understanding, especially as believers, that it's more than just trying to diet for dieting's sake. It's more than just trying to say I'm going to improve what I'm eating, my lifestyle of eating, because that's what I want to do to get this fit body. It's more than that, and we'll talk about that when we come off of the break. Welcome back to Your Lane Talk Show. If you're just joining me, thanks so much for joining. I have with us Coach T and Coach Chryshawnda. We're talking, these are health and nutrition experts, like, literally coaches that deals with the health and well-being of our bodies. They're here to talk to us a little bit about how we can achieve and accomplish really our 2025 health goals. All right. We want to do it the right way. And just during the break, I was speaking to the Facebook audience and YouTube audiences about how, it's more than just saying, okay, we're just going to diet just for dieting's sake. Because especially for those who are believers, we understand that our bodies are the temple of the Holy Ghost, right? God dwells in and midst of us. And so because he dwells in us, we want to ensure that we keep our bodies right. We keep healthy, we keep fit, for numerous reasons. One, we want to be able to allow his light to shine and illuminate through us, right? So that means when we're ministering, or we're going to minister, or for those who are evangelists, who are preachers, teachers, you don't want to be doing and you're tired, you're out of breath, you're out of shape, you can't function. You understand what I'm saying? You're mentally exhausted. You can't give of yourself freely. You can't pour out the way that you want to, because you're not taking care of your bodies. So it goes beyond just trying to get in that nice size 6 dress, or trying to do this or trying to do that for that nice fit for the summer, that summer body. It goes beyond that. So I just want to put that little pin in there. Now let's go back. Coach T, I think I was asking you a question about, I think we were done with that, but I wanted to talk about mindset. I want to
Ooh,
talk about, like, what role does mindset play in achieving and maintaining better health? Talking about that
it
mind.
plays a humongous role. Pretty much you should probably start with your mindset, because if you don't put your mind to it, you're not gonna do it. You know what I mean? It's gonna be an option. But when my mind is made up, it's definitely going to be a priority in my life. So
Mhm.
you should probably start there. If you're not, I mean, I would say the word. Well, I would say, an unstable mind is basically going nowhere. I would say you're just roaming. So if you don't make your mind up first, this is what I'm going to do, and then write it down, make it plain. And that doesn't mean that it's set in stone, but you want to write it down so you can see the start place, so you can
Yeah.
Yeah.
see actually what you're thinking, what I'm saying. This is what I'm thinking about doing. What does this look like?
Yeah.
What is the plans that I can have starting tomorrow, or starting today, or starting next week? But I need to write it down so that way I can see it. If I
Mhm.
can see it, I can actually commit it to memory and commit it to my mind, and actually see how I can work it, get it done, tweak it if I need to here or there, but I can commit to it. A lot of times, as we see it, we say it, we hear it, we
Yeah.
believe it, and we stick to it. So mindset first. A lot of people go through, okay, I'm gonna just do it first. And a
Mhm.
lot of times you're gonna run into the brick wall sooner than later. So literally planning is very important. Even if you don't know what you're doing, what can I do to better myself today? I
Yeah.
can take the stairs instead of taking the elevator. I can park it farther back in the supermarket parking lot and walk. I can stop taking shortcuts and take the sidewalk everywhere. I
Yeah.
can walk rather than drive some places. So it's little things like that, but It's the writing it down and committing it to your mind. Say, this is what this will look like. This is what I can do. And this is what I'm committed to. So it'll be kind of like a contract, right? I'm
Yeah.
going to write myself a contract to better myself from this day forward. How would I do that? What does it look like starting with day one? So it's a huge part in
I like
your
that.
process.
Yeah.
I like that. You want to piggyback?
Yeah, I'd like to say something. I've done a lot of studies about the incorporation of the mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah.
And so the way it goes is that your body responds to your mind
Mhm.
and your mind responds to your spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in the spiritual aspect of things, you want to actually fortify what it is that you believe about yourself and your
Mm-hmm.
body and what are the things that you actually value,
Mm-hmm.
right? Those things help to shift your mindset concerning what you do about or how you approach your health and your well-being and the decisions that you make. And I think that'll help with changing, shifting your mindset. I always tell people, especially you have to start there because transformation begins head first,
Yes.
Yeah.
right? And you read the scripture where it says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so your mind has to be renewed for you to actually be very intentional about the decisions that you make going forward.
Mm-hmm.
And your life is just, it encompasses an amalgamation of decisions that you make.
Yeah.
And so you want to go back again. Your mind responds to your spirit. And spiritually, you have to know, what is it that you believe?
Mhm.
What is it that you believe about your body? What is it that you believe that Yahweh wants from us
Mm-hmm.
as it relates to stewarding our bodies well?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What is it that you believe? And what is it that you value? Because if you ask people to write down their values, a lot of people will say health, and that may come way down the line. They probably would say money first.
Mm-hmm.
They might
Family.
say family. They
Yeah.
might say, but health will come way down there.
Yeah.
But if you value health enough, and that's embedded in you as one of your values and that your spiritual beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
your mind, it'll be easier for your mind to actually adopt that. It like for you to adopt that mindset that'll lead you into those changes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I think, all that my good coach has said, but also changing, make sure you know.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you know, not to say you know like you know, make sure you know what it is, what your beliefs are
Yeah.
and what your values are. Because a lot of people say that they value health, but they don't really,
Right.
which is
Yeah.
why they're not as intentional as they need to
Yeah.
be about their health and their well-being.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have that, and you won't adopt the mindset that you need to actually perform or create those habits and behaviors that'll lead you into a healthier lifestyle
This is so good.
or managing your well-being.
This is so good. I love that. I love that. So even in that, sorry, you wanted to say something, Coach G?
Did. It was so good what she said.
Go
And I
ahead.
was trying to like keep it somewhere, but I wanted to go back because the first thing she said was you have to know your beliefs and what you believe in yourself. And I wanted to share like my journey started with God telling me what He wanted. You know, the word says
Mhm.
that God wants us to prosper, but the question was, how do I prosper, right? Like,
Yeah.
how do I prosper? Because at the time I wasn't fit enough, I wasn't in good health enough, and He wants us to be in good health daily. But how? Like, in what health? Because I
Mhm.
thought I was pretty good. You know, I look
Yeah.
good, I could wear whatever I need to wear, but for the purpose that God had for me, my physical body
Yeah.
couldn't handle the mantle, the glory, the things that God wanted me to do later
Yes.
on in life, or
Mm.
as a purpose and a destiny. So I
Yeah.
started there. It was wonderful that you said that. I started there. What did God say about me? Yeah, we know that He says we're fearfully and wonderfully made, with the apple His eye. But what else? What specifically does God say about me and my purpose and where I'm going and what's needed for me to get there? You spoke about being able to praise God without getting tired, right? Being able to pour
Mhm.
out. As a worshiper, I got to be able to pour out in a room, whether how big or how small, without being tired. Being able to
Yeah.
still hold the note, being able to still worship, being able to still see where I'm going. And a lot of times we don't tie those together. We
That's
don't
it.
Yeah.
tie
That's it
the
right there.
ministry and the worshiper, the ministry and the health and the healing together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Keep it separate, not knowing that a lot of times our physical body keeps us from seeing the full manifestation of the ministry in which we're doing. So that was
100%.
so good. I loved it. Like,
100%.
Listen to me, man. I don't even. I want us to stay that, but let me ask. Let's talk about emotional eating because I mean this is still a
mhm,
mental thing, right? Let's talk
yeah.
about when people use food as their source of emotional connection.
Mhm,
What advice do you have for breaking unhealthy patterns in that? Meaning, okay, yes, I'm going through something. Um, I have little issues, and so I'm going straight to the freezer to get that nice cookies and cream ice cream, or I'm gonna get that cake out the fridge, or I'm gonna do something that I know that I'm not supposed to be doing, especially in the
Yeah.
month of January when everybody's saying, okay, I'm on health goals. I don't know who want to tackle this question first. You want to go ahead, Coach Krishanda?
Um, Funny enough, I do a internship at Family Medicine
Mm-hmm.
currently with the nutritionist there,
Dr.
and
Kate's hi. Yeah.
and a lot of the clients that we see, their eating habits. I always tell people, nutrition is a science, but eating is a behavior.
Mm,
And so a lot of their eating habits and behaviors are a result of their emotional health.
mm,
And so it's funny that you brought that up because eating is emotional,
yeah.
it's psychological, it's spiritual,
Mm-hmm.
it's all of the above. And so it might be easy to say, and I don't want to fault people that actually emotionally eat because
Mm-hmm.
it is very common.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, it's eating is emotional.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you feel sad, you eat. If you feel happy, you eat. One of the advices I will give, right? Of course, you want to deal with the root.
Let's be real.
You want to deal with the root of why you are spiraling. Some people don't realize that what they're going through is actually affecting their food choices
Yeah.
or affecting the way that they eat until you make them aware. When you become aware, you want to tackle whatever emotional turmoil you're actually going through.
Mm-hmm.
That'll help you in the eating area.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, I would say take like smaller steps into, because one of our clients, for example, had like a sugar addiction. We know for a fact that telling her to abstain from sugar completely,
Just don't do
it's
it.
not going to work.
No.
It's not going to work. And so take small steps. Take small steps. If you feel like you're emotionally eating, okay, ask yourself in the moment, how do I feel before I eat this thing? And let's say you do eat the thing, what do I feel after?
mhm.
Right? So that you can remain conscious of your habits and your behaviors and how you're approaching what you're eating.
Mhm. Do you
Um,
suggest, sorry, excuse me, do you suggest that they write down
you
these
could write it
things?
down.
I find writing works so well for
Don't
me.
like writing. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Like some
Yeah.
people don't like journaling, but I always subscribe telling people, use a if you're having if you're having gut issues, do a food journal.
Yeah.
If you're having emotional eating problems, do a food journal,
Mm-hmm.
right? That way you automatically take track of what the triggers
Yeah.
are,
Absolutely.
what your triggers are, why, what leads you to that emotional
Yeah.
eating, and
Mhm.
then what is it that you feel after, or what do you do after? Do you
Mm-hmm.
actually eat more after, or eat more of the same thing, or if you eat something else? Um, taking taking stock of that will help you to know that, okay, this is the trigger, and I can deal with the trigger.
Yeah.
I can deal with the trigger first before, making any changes in the eating area. Now, if you want to take the other route, we just talked about how changing your mind first is very
Mm-hmm.
important.
Mm-hmm.
But some people don't really have the capacity to actually go through that. And that's the honest truth. Like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people don't take the time and the work necessary to change their mind first. They prefer to change their mind on the way, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the reality.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want to start with just eliminating, maybe you can't cut out the sugar completely, right? But eliminating one thing that you would have eaten. So if you eat pastries, let's say you have cookies during the day, you find like you eat cookies, chips, sodas, all those things that are high in sugar and trans fat, you eat that during the day, then try cutting out one of the things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Try cutting out one of the things.
Yeah.
You won't be able to cut them all out completely
Mm-hmm.
in one go, but focus on either one or two things for about 2 or 3 weeks, and then you can actually improve your food choices or see how it works for you, and then move from there.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to just make myself clear because sometimes I jump from one thing to the next. So I would suggest jotting down how you feel before you eat something,
Right.
because that way you would know what the trigger is,
Mhm.
and then you'll be able to deal with the trigger. And then if you want to take the other route of just simplifying elimination, then try doing it in bite-sized pieces, not cutting it out completely. Like for me, I used to buy, I always talk about my sugar addiction, but I've met some people who are highly addicted. Like they were no match for me,
Yeah.
right? I've met people who had withdrawals from sugar, but I used to eat cakes a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I still do like pastries, but I'm not like, it's not something that I crave very
Right.
often
Right.
because I've already built myself to, and it took years, like years of habitual doing this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't crave it as much, but I used to eat cakes a lot. Like go to the grocery store, buy a thing of a cake, a whole. And I always talk about this because and that was emotionally eating. Like I used to buy a whole tray, like I don't know, it was a 10-inch cake. I don't even know. I think it's like a 10-inch. Anyway, the whole cake from the grocery store.
And you
Every
need
time
that
I
by
go, and
yourself?
I would eat
Oh, damn.
if I
No,
would sit
honey.
down and eat that by myself. And at one point, I caught myself, and I'm like, "All right, this is a lot. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is too much.
Mm-hmm.
Like you running out, you
Mm-hmm.
know." And so I'm like, okay, maybe you don't have to buy the whole cake. Maybe you can buy a slice. Every
That's
and I would buy it. Like every time I go to the grocery store, I would buy it. Like I did not cut it out completely.
Yeah.
I would buy it.
Wow.
Eventually, I moved from buying it every time I go to just eating it on the weekends. So I would eat it on the weekends.
Good discipline.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just eat it on the weekends. It's not that I can't have it, but I just put a barrier in place to help myself out,
I got you. I
you
got you.
know?
I mean, they say, how do you eat an elephant? And it's just one bite at a time. You just nip
Yeah.
at it. The huge elephant. You don't just automatically just say, I'm gonna take this
Yeah.
whole I need it. So bits and pieces at a time. But Coach G, I want to ask you a question regarding this, but for people who deal with like PMS and menopause eating, because you know that's hormonal. How what advice would you give for those? I mean, is it okay to indulge like that? Because I mean, it's PMS. I could get me a big thing of chocolate. I don't do this all the time. But what are your advice on those with women who eat specifically during hormonal imbalances, etc.?
Well, first, I always start off my clients with go to the doctor, get a full workup of your blood work, and then get it to where you can take it and understand it. Ask the questions that you need. What is out of line? What's close to being low? What's borderline to being high? To where you can understand, number one, your levels. Because a lot of emotions are tied to our Lord Jesus, our emotional selves is tied to our endorphins, is tied to our hormones. As women, we're very hormonal people because we're very emotional people.
Mhm.
However, we don't realize that it still has to do with our hormones. It still has to do with our bodies and how we react. Although we release hormones, our body, our brain still triggers, which is the
Yeah.
mind. It still triggers what needs to be released or what wants to be released. So it still kind of ties in with what my coach sister said. Let me say, I love this, and I'm so glad that I met her. This has been wonderful for me. I love hearing somebody
Likewise.
who
Y'all gonna connect. This ain't gonna be your last time, okay? All right, the
Absolutely.
first and last. It's not gonna be first and last. Go
but
ahead.
it goes so much together. It still goes into your mind. It still goes into getting to the root. A lot of the foods that people indulge on, even during menopause, because it's not so much as I have a chocolate bar during my cycle month, but it's that I have five. Or is that I have, as
Yeah.
Coach said, the whole cake and not just a slice of cake. So it's still overindulgence. It still kind of leads back to an addiction, and it still leads back to a mindset, which is also in turn telling your body, we need this comfort.
Yeah.
So it comes to comfort. Now, the comforter I know, he don't come with sugar. Okay.
No, I
um,
mean he's sweet, but he don't come with
Right,
sugar.
he's sweet, sweeter than a
Right. Yeah.
honeycomb, but he
Yeah.
don't come with sugar. And a
Mhm.
lot of times that is the root. We want that comfort. We need something at that time that's familiar because right now we're feeling unfamiliar. I mean, our spouses, our families say, you must be Are you menstruating because this is not it? What is going on? You're a monster. Who is this? So all of that ties together with knowing what your levels are, first of all. And if it runs in your family, then knowing what that is, identifying it. One of the things I love that coach said as well was the journal. A lot of times people don't like the journal because it causes them to see them. And a lot of times if you have an addiction, if you have an overindulgence, you don't want to see that. I don't want to see that I can't have what I want.
Yeah.
Addicts or people that deal with addictions, they don't want to see no. And they definitely don't want to tell themselves no because, that's not a thing with them. So a
Yeah.
lot of times it's really tied together. What do I need to do? First of all, I need to be honest.
Yeah.
I need to be able to see me. Then I need to see where this is coming from. And sometimes this happens simultaneously. And sometimes I can hear my mom say something that has run in the family. Like for me, it was hysterectomies and always something with the woman issue, just
Yeah.
always. And so to break that is like, oh, I had to know what they experienced and then what I experienced because I was ready to have a hysterectomy because I'm like, I'm tired of this. This is crazy. But knowing that I needed to break that generational curse, I had to go a different route. And in doing that, I had to educate myself on not only my history, but my family history, and
I love
then be realistic with getting the scientific information and what does this mean? What does this level mean? What does this mean in my body? What triggers this hormone? What do I? And then go to the what do I feel like when I reach for this and why? Why am I feeling like this? Did something
Mm.
happen? Did something? What was the trigger? If it was a trigger, was it external? Was it internal? Um, is this something that I do on a regular? Is this something that I cause? Is this something I run to because I really am not fulfilling my life in any other area? Is this because of a voided area that I'm coming to try to fill what won't be filled with food?
Yeah.
So it's really, really a huge general statement, I guess you can say, but it starts somewhere. And some people, that works. And others, they need to actually maybe couple the nutrition with a counselor, with maybe some deliverance. However, if you're in that type of area to where you can get it, all of these things because there is a root, and a lot of times because we can't see it ourselves because we like it, we need somebody to point out, say, hey, this isn't good. And
Man.
I always see Dr. Now from my 600-pound life, who's
Mhm.
like, oh, but you've had enough. Like,
You've had enough.
Yeah.
and that's not everybody can't handle that and don't need that. But for me, that's what I look at. I'm like, okay, when I was starting, I had a picture of him on my refrigerator, and it was like, but are you hungry though? Like, do you
Yeah.
really need this?
But
Um,
do you need that?
listen, do we really need this?
You said something so important that I have to reiterate it. And I'm not going to say what you said verbatim, but I just want to, highlight this point. You said, you look at your family history.
Hmm.
Okay, this is especially for us as Bahamians, right? Bahamian women. I'm not even going to claim some of the things that you always hear about Bahamians deal with. However, let's say an example is diabetes, a simple thing, and obviously not just Bahamians have not diabetes, but I'm just
Yeah.
using this as an example. And for a fact that diabetes may run in your family, and then you have this consistent urge or desire or wanting to indulge in pastries. You want to indulge in desserts and stuff all the time. Both of you said it, but it's like you trying to figure out, okay, now is this just me wanting this, or is this there's a spirit behind this?
Right.
Everything is spiritual.
Everything.
Everything
Yes.
is spiritual.
Mhm.
So if you understand
Hmm.
what took place or what transpired before you, what grandmother and them happened, what happened to them, and how they had, they got their leg amputated or something, some
Yeah.
issue, and then you're wondering why every Sunday you have to have a dessert. Because that's a big thing as a child. I don't care. I have to have dessert after I done eat, child. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not saying, mind you, I'm not saying that you can't have a dessert once in a while. I'm referring to the excessive, indulgence, that
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
everyday desire, or that unable to control yourself because
Yeah.
you just keep on eating desserts and sweet things. I mean, it should be dessert. You may
Yeah.
put more sugar in your tea when you what is not necessary.
Yeah.
There's simple things like that. Eating sugary foods,
Definitely.
cereals, the frosted flakes, Lord Jesus, and all these other things which are what we having for breakfast. Too much syrup on the pancakes. The pancakes is whole wheat, but you still have syrup on it. It's little things like that. That we have to be mindful of. And these are practical things. These are things that we
Yeah.
do all the time. So I just wanted to stick a pin there just to state that. Go ahead.
I think too, outside of the spiritual aspect of that being like a family history or in your bloodline, or certain things being in your bloodline, because a little backstory with me, my dad died from hypertension.
Mm-hmm.
You know, high blood pressure is something they call a silent killer. You don't know
Yeah.
you have it until you have it.
Yeah.
One thing lead to the next. Surprise, he was in church, fell out, never came back. That was just it. Got a brain aneurysm. That was it for him. And so that's in my bloodline. But outside of that, being in my bloodline, I don't think we're taught. I feel like it's more cultural than anything else. I don't think we're taught about balancing your plate or
Can I stop
how
for a
to.
second? It's bothering me. It's not in your bloodline. Like you cancel that. I know that you're saying it
Yeah.
because that you
Yes.
that's what was in the
Oh,
past.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know
yeah,
however
yeah.
you word it, fix it a little way because I just like I sit in here and I'm like
No, I
words
get it.
because right now words are so important to me
Yeah,
more
yeah,
than
yeah.
they've ever been before. We're speaking
Mhm.
It
spirits.
was.
It was in my
It was.
bloodline.
It
Thank
was
you,
in
Right.
ma'am.
But it
Continue
stopped.
as you were.
thank you. It was in my bloodline. Or it was in my family history.
Yes.
But yeah, I just don't think that we're taught. I think most of it goes back to being like educated about it. Like I've met people, especially because I schooled abroad, I've met people that they were taught these things growing up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Even if they had someone died of diabetes or had someone died of hypertension or stuff like that, like they were actually taught. And I don't think that we put enough emphasis, or especially in Bahamian culture, that's not something that it's prevalent. That's not something that's prevalent. I was almost like this is just my experience.
Mm-hmm.
I was almost in a culture shock when I went to Canada,
Mm-hmm.
because they are so intentional about health and wellness there. Like they build communities about health and wellness. I worked for an organization that developed physical activity programs. It was actually funded by the government to actually do
Mm-hmm.
that. They have multiple organizations that they do for mental health. So they are very intentional about
Mm-hmm.
health and wellness
Mm-hmm.
there. And so I feel like outside of just it being, something in your family history, we don't create enough conversations, or it's not enough knowledge being, especially in our kids. You grow up that, okay, peas and rice. You have
Macaroni,
the multiple
coleslaw.
meats on a
Yeah.
Sunday, peas and rice,
Fish
this,
and
that.
chicken.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The starch, just starch on the plate,
Mm-hmm.
nothing else, just starch.
Mm-hmm.
Just starch. But I don't think we're taught. I went to a function on Sunday, and I grab a plate, and you know that there are some plates that have dividers,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
so the divider has like the big side,
And then
and
the
then it
two
has
small
two small
sides.
sides.
Mm-hmm.
And so the big side, for people that don't know, is actually for the vegetables.
Right.
It's
Yes.
not for the carbs.
Yes.
It's not for the rice.
Yes.
And so, because I practiced this for a while, I didn't even realize that I was doing it. I just put the salad and stuff on the big side. And so my niece asked me, "You don't get no rice, eh?" I say, "Yes, I'm getting just a little bit of rice, but it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be on the small side."
Yes.
And just her asking me that is like, they really don't know.
Yeah.
They haven't been taught. They really don't know that there are certain things you do that can actually better your health and
Mm-hmm.
your well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even in the schools, like, we just need to make more conversations about it so that we can have a healthier community, healthier culture, and just better,
I love that.
just better.
That's why
Yeah.
we have people like yourself who you came back and you coming back here to ensure that we get all the information needed so that we can have a better culture, a healthier culture here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what we're
Yeah.
gonna do is take a quick break. Coach T, we're gonna take a quick break and then when we get back, we talk about exercise and then we'll close it out with mental health. All
Okay.
right. Right after this. Oh, Ooh, that's some good stuff. But y'all rolling. Like, for my money. Let me get my credit card. Who I coming to
I
first?
am
Because
crying.
listen to me. Y'all are doing so well. This is so beneficial and it is so good. This information is so
I
good.
think the conversation is always it's so
Needed.
needed.
Yeah.
It's just so
Definitely
needed.
needed. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't create enough. Especially, I will speak about Bahamian culture. Like I haven't seen a lot of now. I see people now. They're now doing like more events and stuff, especially in physical activity. I would say
Mm-hmm.
that they put a lot of emphasis, not a lot, but a bit more. It's
Mm-hmm.
improved as it relates to physical activity. So they had like functions, nonprofit organizations have had functions where people can work out for free
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. And so they've invested a little bit more there. But even as it relates to, I think eating is very hard for because eating is also cultural
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
You don't want to tell people to stop eating the peas and rice. We
No.
just want to tell you how you can balance your plate
Yeah.
a little bit better
Mm-hmm.
or eat a
Mm-hmm.
little bit better or make it work for you,
Mm-hmm.
right? You don't need to have the macaroni and the rice.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you just need to do the rice and a side of
Pick your
coleslaw
poison.
or something
Yeah.
like that, right? And so I think it's just making not because you can't say the food culturally is bad. Culture
No.
is actually what brings us together as a
Yes.
people.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
you can't say it's bad for you, but I also don't tell people that certain foods are bad for you. I feel like self control is more
That's
important.
important. Yeah.
Is
Definitely.
actually
We
very,
had
very more
Nurse
important.
Anita Cates from Family Medicine Center on the show. I think this was last year. I believe last year or year before. And she said, just similar to what you said when we have the plates would have the
The dividers.
dividers. However,
Mhm.
in a typical home, we don't have dividers in our plates. It's
No.
just a round plate. So she's like,
Right.
okay, think of it as a clock. You have the different quarters or whatever, the one, two, three, four quarters in, right?
Hmm.
And she said, similar to the dividers, she said you can have the bigger portion, not saying that you can, because she said she loved macaroni. Our macaroni is different from American
Is
macaroni,
it?
Coach T.
Yeah, it is.
So she's like, I like macaroni. So she said, I'm gonna put macaroni on my plate, but I'm gonna have the salads and the vegetables,
Both, yeah.
those main courses. That's the bigger portion. And she says it's not necessarily what you eat, but the amount or the quantity. And
That.
that's what the issue is.
Definitely.
But when you find that you don't have self-control, that's where the problem
That's
arises.
where problem
Similar to
arises.
what you said.
Yeah.
Because I did a video on that before where people are there good and bad foods? I mean, there are ultra processed foods, I would say, that don't give you any nutritional value
Hmm.
at all,
Hmm.
right? But to say cut them out completely, I don't know. Maybe there are people that don't eat them at all. I hardly eat chips. If I eat a chip, I'll eat it once every blue moon. That's just real for me.
Hmm.
And I'm not a big snacker. For someone who snacks, they may have a chip like maybe every day or
Hmm.
once or twice a week. Maybe you could cut that down to once a week instead of having it every day, right? And you'll still be fine. If you could
Yeah.
cut it down to once a week instead of having it every day, you'll still cut it down. I mean, you'll still help
You
yourself.
still have something, but
You're
you don't
right,
have to have it every
right.
day.
It's still
But
Yeah.
better than the whole bag.
Better than the
yeah,
whole bag. All right. Guilty. All right, just bring out all my stuff now. All right. Okay. No, but I don't indulge in anything like that too much. I don't have a weakness anymore for things
yeah,
that I used to back in
yeah,
the days, which is good.
Awesome.
which is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it takes practice and it takes time.
It
It
You know,
takes
I
does.
it
It
just
does.
want
does.
to cut right now, and it's like
No.
it's not realistic.
Listen, it took me years.
Same, yeah. About 2 or 3 years ago, I completely changed my whole diet.
Yeah.
But little at a time. Um, and from that, I
Cause she
can't
got to.
even eat sweets like that. Like
Really?
Yeah.
when we went to Atlanta, I tried to taste some banana pudding, and it was like
Not for you.
No.
it's weird. It was like, no, it's not. I was like, well, take mine. And it's
Okay,
like,
ladies. Sorry. Gonna go back in. Ready?
Okay.
okay.
Ready? Okay. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in and for staying with us. I know that you all have been blessed about what was being spoken and to or by from these two wonderful coaches. These health coaches have been giving us so much insight today. And as I said before, we want to target exercising now, which is something especially as Bahamians particularly, and then worldwide, we say, okay, January, we're going to start this because this is our goals, this is our health goals, this is what we want to do. And Coach T, I know that you hear this all the time. People get all excited. in the month of January and February, because that's a part of their goals and they're going to stick with it. All right. And then we notice, and a pure example is just going to the gym in March.
Yeah.
Okay, going to the gym March, April. The amount of people that you saw in January, February, you will not see in March and April. All right. So what I wanted to know is, what advice would you give for someone who struggles, Coach T, to stay consistent with an exercise routine? For those who have on their little vision board this body, this nice body, this fit body, and they want to achieve it by June. What advice would you give them to stick with that routine?
First, I would probably say don't stick with that till June if you're not close.
Mm,
So if I am 400 pounds, I can get into a bikini, probably not the one on your vision board, right?
not that one.
So I would say first, like I said, we go back to realistic goals.
Realistic. Hmm.
What will I be able to do? What will I be able to do for the first quarter of the year? Will I fall off in January? However, because listen, let me go back. January, I'm a gym person. I
Yeah.
love, love, love the gym. So in January, not so much. And I used to be like, oh my gosh, they're coming. And then I realized, at one point I was them. At one point, I was the person that waited to the first of the year to go to the gym and say, I'm going to do it. And then by February, I was not in the gym. I picked up in the summertime again because I realized that I didn't get summertime fine and then, quit again. So let's go back. First, what is your why, right?
Mhm.
Why do I want to do this? And it's okay if your why is I want to be in a bikini by the summer. It's perfectly okay. Whatever your why is, it can be almost anything.
Mhm.
Um, and write that down because the next couple of weeks you're gonna need to fall back on that why to say why am I not going or why did I fall off?
That's
What
good.
was my goal in the beginning? Let me go back to my why and rearrange so I can actually reach it. And then after that, if you do fall off, get back up. I just
Yeah.
man's fall 7 times. But what makes it different is that he gets back up. So
Mhm.
there's no too long. You didn't go in January, you started in February, go. You didn't go today, you're gonna go tomorrow, go. You didn't go last week, you're gonna go next week, go. Like
Yeah.
there isn't a certain timeline except the one you gave yourself. And if you
Yeah.
push it back or pull it up, that's up to you because it's not a sprint, it's literally a marathon.
Yes.
Life is literally a marathon. And the marathon is how you prepare and what you make of it. So you're going to run it anyway, but you would prefer to run it in better shape than huffing and puffing or being pushed or having to will yourself or having to hop. So it's
Mhm.
really up to you and it's really you are you versus you. When you go
Yeah.
to the gym, you're going to see so many different. In my gym, there are so many different body types, and I love it. You have the mom coming who just had the baby. You have the 30, 40-year olds who don't have a clue what to do, but they're trying to get in shape. You have the Instagram models who's filming and just posing
They
and just
just want the glutes. They want the
perfect.
glutes. That's what they
You have
want.
everything.
Yeah.
And when you
Mhm.
go there, be focused, see the inspiration, and say, I'm going to be there one day. I mean, people used to come up to me and be like, because they didn't realize I was 43. And they were like, oh my God. And they was like, they was like, one day I'm going to be like you. I was like, no, one day you're going to be better than me because you're not going to be here in this situation when you're 43. You're going to be
Wow.
in better shape.
Yeah.
So it's a community. So embrace it. Nobody wants to see you do bad. Nobody is there to judge you. Get out of your mind,
That's right.
receive the community, embrace it, allow it to hold you up when you are down, and grow. I mean, it's literally a place to where you versus you, and you have the support of people around you, and you have vision like, oh, I want that. And then you have people doing exercises that you don't know about. That's how I learned a lot when I was younger. I would go and I'd be like, what does that machine do? Oh, okay. And then I'll
Mhm.
Google it or YouTube and I'm like, oh, that's what it does. Okay. Then I add it or I'll be like, I'm never doing that. But you learn, it's a place where you can learn. And then if you can't learn like that, they also have trainers to
Yeah.
help you out. Whether you can afford one for a week or a day, you can at least get um When I started, there was a guy there who offered weekly or daily train sessions that
Yeah.
he would write a plan for you. And some people took that plan. He was like, some people take the plan and they never come back, and that's not a problem for me because he didn't have a problem with business. He said some people take that plan and they come back in 2 weeks because they're ready for another plan or it didn't
Mhm.
work or we need to calibrate it. And some people come and see me once a month. However, there is a way. If
Yeah.
you want it, there's a way. And there's a way to do it the healthy way. And there's a way for you to be successful. And there's a way for me to go from not so much of a gym buff to a gym buff because I love the gym. But you can
Mhm.
also do it at home. You can also do it because I also walk on the trail. I also started out with Billy Blanks back in the day at home, working it out. Zumba classes, just find the gym that has something that you like. If you like classes, start there. I started with classes. I did 15 minutes on the treadmill and then I would go to a class, come back and do
Mhm.
15 minutes on the treadmill again. But just know, try it. You never know what you like until you try it. And then you can't be consistent in something that you never do. So that's what
I
I
Yeah.
was.
love I love that you said that because one of the questions is how do you deal with someone who just don't know where to start, especially going to the gym. There's like so many different exercising machines all over the
Yeah.
place. Like where do I go? What do I do? But you answered that. And then I also wanted to talk about people who may not find the gym and they want to find things to do maybe at home, or
Yeah.
what are some things Coach Krishanda, that they can do to help with fitness at
Mm.
home.
One of the things that studying in Canada has taught me is that, especially because the weather is so bipolar
Right.
and it changes very often,
Hmm.
is that if you want to get something done, you have to find a way,
Hmm.
regardless of it. And that's what that did for me as it relates to movement. But I also build the mindset that I just need to move.
Hmm.
Like, I don't need to go to the gym. I don't need to, you know, because your body don't really, I mean, it takes, if you're trying to build muscle, that's different, right? So you need something, some resistance, some of resistance to actually build muscle
Mhm,
mass.
mhm,
But if your desire is weight loss, your body calculates all movement into losing calories. So you don't have
mhm,
to do anything specific to actually lose weight.
mhm, mhm,
You just need to move and burn the calories, right? um and then losing weight is partially, well, mostly diet. So it's
Mhm.
80% diet and 20% movement. And so I always tell people, find things, movement that is similar to what she already said, movement that you like. If you don't like it, you're probably not going to be consistent with it.
mhm,
Yeah.
Um, and I teach sustainability. So I'm always gonna, my methods are always gonna talk is going always going to lead to that.
mhm,
How can you sustain this long term, or how can you build this into a lifestyle routine?
mhm.
And the only way to do that is if you actually like something.
Yeah.
So me telling you stop eating this or stop eating that, and you actually, it's probably not going to be sustainable for you. And so finding movements that you actually like and doing them. Again, another thing is paying attention to your schedule and your routines. We just had a client who's very busy, and her routine she said she could only get in 15 to 20 minutes in the
Mhm.
morning. That
That's pretty
if
good.
she had to move, if she needed to do any movement, she said she can only do that early in the morning because she can't do it any other time.
Yeah.
And so taking stock again of what your day to day life and your
Mhm.
regimen and what that looks like, being realistic about it, and how can I put this into motion?
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
can move at home. There are plenty YouTube
I
videos
was about to say
on,
that.
yeah, there are plenty YouTube videos on Choose and Toya, my
Yeah. Yeah.
favorites. Yeah. And then there's another one called Heather. I think her name is Heather Robertson.
There's
There's another,
Jane Kate. I
yeah,
like her too.
there are several people.
Nikki
You can
Mouse.
find them all around, right? There are people on YouTube where you can actually go on YouTube and do your
And
at
20
home
minutes, I think
workouts.
it's pretty good.
And
Yeah.
it's not just cardio, or it's not just weight training, or resistance training or anything like that. You can find Zumba, you can find dance routines,
Mhm.
soca, you can find all kind of
Mhm.
things
Mhm.
and ways to move.
Mhm.
And so those are also options. You just have
Mhm.
to build the mindset of movement. Like,
Yeah.
I just need to move. And for me, that's what it was. Like, I
Yeah.
don't need to get in the gym. I don't, although I love the gym, I would prefer the gym over anything else because I like weightlifting.
Yeah.
But if I had to choose, you do like a little dance workout at home. That works as well. If you don't have any resistance band, I would tell you invest in those actually.
How
If you have
how?
resistance bands,
Sorry, go ahead.
invest in those and get you a 10 or 5 pound dumbbell and you could get in a
Mhm.
workout. I mean,
I
a full
wanted
on
to say
workout.
that I've seen some people who haven't purchased items. In fact, on TikTok has everything,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So there are things that people use, like for instance, this African lady who uses the 5 gallon
Oh,
water
yeah.
bottle, and
Mm-hmm.
she does um little exercises with that what do you call it, the ooh that with her legs
The stepper?
strengthening. No, she used, no, not for the stoppers. I saw her doing
Squats,
squat.
lunges.
She was
Oh,
doing, and the
squats.
lunges. She was doing stuff with that, and she was holding it up. And there's so many other things. You got the 1 gallon that you could, the jugs that you could
Oh,
use
yeah.
anytime. So even if you don't want to go and purchase it because you want a budget, because we're talking about budgeting next time.
Yeah.
But if you have something, use what's in your house,
That,
right? Pick
yeah.
up
That
things in
sounds
your house.
fun.
Don't
Yeah.
pick up your children now. Leave your children, leave them on the ground.
Well, I
But
started with
find
my
other things
son.
that you can
When I
I'm
was a
with
new mom,
you.
I started with my son. It was like, how can I work out? He want to be healed. Let's see.
Listen, my arms, I have muscles in my arms with my children. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's that's
Yeah.
wonderful. And you both answered questions that I have for you. One that was talking about, there's something that you had already said, struggling with something. I can't even remember. But the other thing was, how do you move when you're busy? So you answered that question for me. Um, that there was a question that I have for you, Coach T. What are some common myths about health and wellness that you often debunk for your clients? I know for both of you, I'm going to ask about your clients. What are some things, some myths that people say that this is how it's supposed to be and this is the right way, but you realize that, hey,
Oh
no,
my gosh.
based on research or based on my own experience or the experiences of most people, this is actually what it is. Can you think of anything?
I would say that there's one size to health. A lot of times you see either really, really skinny, fit people, or you see bodybuilders. In the gym, is really common to see bodybuilders and to think, oh my gosh, they're just extremely healthy, which usually it is the complete opposite. And then the faster you lose weight, the better, or the faster you get, the thing that causes you to do it the fastest is going to make you healthier. One thing, it may make you smaller, but that doesn't mean it's going to make you healthy. There's not really any shortcuts to health. Your body, your health, your system has been built as long as you've been alive. It's taken that long. Whatever bad habits you have, it took longer than a day to be, or 30 days, or 60 days to be a bad health, habit. So and then the one size fits all health.
Hmm.
There's so many people with so many different things, so many different chemistries, so many different
Mm-hmm.
body situations, hormonal situations. I think the big thing now is hormones for women, mostly because everything, well, not for people, period, mostly because everything we have is pretty much hormonal. There's hormones in everything. Even if you get the non-hormonal, there's usually hormones in it, right?
Yeah.
It's just the amount of hormones that is allowed. So that is really a big issue these days with women with different things like PCOS,
Yeah.
and different hormonal and insulin resistant and all those things. And they just think that they can just follow any kind of fad diet or any
Hmm.
kind of regimen that someone who is already gotten skinny and do it, when it's not a one size fits all healthcare. You may have a general guideline for everybody to follow, but you're always going to tweak it towards the person. So, personal regimen, personal healthcare, personal training, personal nutritionalist, that's going to actually sit you down and go over with you what you have going on. That's what's important. So, that's a lot of things that I deal with. Different bodies, different people think they're going to have the same thing, and realistically, it's just not the same. We're
Okay.
not the same. Our bodies are not the same,
And what
and
about you?
where we live is not the same. So our food is not the same.
Absolutely.
Our tendencies are not the same. So yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that because we get discouraged when we see two people maybe doing
Yeah.
this as friends doing the same thing, and then you realize that this friend is losing more weight than the other.
Yeah.
It's like we doing the same thing. What's going on? No, you don't have the same body chemistry.
It's
What
a
will
thing.
work for Sue may not work for Susan.
Hmm.
All right, so understand
Yeah.
that that is important. I love that, Coach T. What about you,
Yeah.
Coach Krishanda?
I mean, some of the same things,
Yeah.
right? Bio individuality is very much a thing
Mm-hmm.
where your body just responds to things very
Differently.
differently.
Mm-hmm.
Even the foods that you eat, right? There's some foods that you eat may metabolize different in your body than it does in someone
Absolutely.
else's.
Mm-hmm.
And so bio individuality is very much a thing. So everything that she said,
Yeah.
um, I think for me, because a lot of my clients, uh, I think they look to me for a lot of nutritional guidance, but because I have like a very diverse background, everything always comes
Incorporate. Mm-hmm.
into one. But one of the things I do get is that the good and bad foods, like they
Mm.
feel really, they start to self load if they eat a certain thing. And so I kind of teach, like I said, I kind of teach self control and moderation,
Mm.
um, because those are the things that are most
I
important.
want to stop you
Mm.
just for 2 seconds. Teach us about self control and
Because
and
this is,
moderation for 2 seconds,
yeah,
right? Okay.
yes,
So give me like 2 minutes of your time, just real quick, because I know it may take more. Just the basics of self control and moderation for
I
those
think
who don't understand how to have it, right?
I
Real quick.
I think self control is more than just willpower. That just going back to one of the things we discussed earlier about the body responding to your mind responding to your spirit. Self control is very much so spiritual, where
yeah,
you have to where you dive deep into what it is that you actually value
Yeah.
and what it is that you believe, and that'll help you to maintain some sort of self control in an area. Because, like I said, going from taking one going from eating a whole cake into just one
Slice.
slice of cake,
Mm-hmm.
that's self control. It takes a lot of self control to do that. But it also took me actually valuing, hey, what am I actually feeding myself or putting into my body?
yeah.
And so I think that's most important. Moderation is just basically just knowing when enough is enough.
Mm. Mhm.
We
No,
over
because I trying to get to someone. I feel that there's someone who just still don't know how to do it. Yes, I want to, but I don't know
yeah.
how to. So how do we break this down? Yeah.
Yeah, moderation is just it's just knowing when enough is enough.
You could tag
I
team if
think
you want
I
to.
think intuitive eating is very important,
Yeah.
especially and I like I said, I always lean more heavily into the nutrition side
Yeah.
because that's where
Mhm.
most of my experience is.
Is mhm.
I wouldn't even say that. I have
Mhm.
experience in both, but
Yeah.
um intuitive eating is also very important. So it's just paying attention to your body, paying attention to when is it when you like when you're hungry
Yeah.
or when you're not hungry, so you don't overeat. And that can go the same for physical activity.
Mhm.
Paying attention to when your body has had enough, right? Maybe we over exercise or we strain ourselves even in that area, and people don't realize that that is actually a possibility
Mhm.
as
Mhm.
well,
Mhm.
where you overdo it in that area and you strain your muscles or you strain, and it can
Mhm.
actually potentially lead to injury as
Mhm.
well.
Mhm.
And so I think moderation is just knowing when to cease and desist, when enough is enough. Yeah, I think that is
Yeah.
basically the gist of it.
We only have 5 minutes left, so I can't really push that because I want to talk in within that 5 minute frame real quick. Coach T, the importance of mental health, and then when you're done with that, I want Coach Krishanda to talk about the importance of rest.
Okay.
All right,
All
so
right.
let's go.
So, mental health, first of all, is kind of like it is not is so mental health is kind of like the center of some whole health. If my mind is bad, then the rest will follow.
Yeah.
But why is my mind bad? Why am I thinking bad thoughts? Why am I constantly depressed? What is the source of this anxiety?
Yeah.
A lot of people deal with anxiety and depression severe one way or the other. So a lot of times, first of all, noticing it. I dealt with anxiety for years and I used it. Anxiety is actually a tool that you can use in your life to make you be a great multitasker, to get everything done at once. But first, you got to realize, like, what is my baseline? What
Mhm.
is the normal? Not the world's normal, but what's normal for me? And why am I going over or underachieving? Am I procrastinating? Are there things that I need to do with time management? Do I need to address something in my life, a disappointment? Hope deferred make the heart sick. So, am I sick? Like, am I really just disappointed that things are not getting done? What is my expectations? Do I expect to fail? Do I expect to be able to get it done? Do I expect that I have what I need? What is my confidence level with myself and even doing what I need to do? You have to address a lot. It's a lot of inner work. And in order to do that, you really have to be honest with yourself. You have to be able to identify, and if not, you have to kind of get help to do it.
Yeah.
Um, Let somebody point you like, okay, when you say this, what do you mean? Because a lot of times we've rationalized it in our mind so much that it's normal for us. It's common for us. We can talk ourselves out of maybe I'm not
Yeah.
so healthy. Oh, you know what? I'm good. I'm okay. But getting to the root of that of why that is literally going to help you in all of everything we've talked about. When you start to regulate your mind, when you start to think on how does God see me? What does he say
Yeah.
about me? And then what is the root of the things that I don't like? And if I don't like it, sometimes that's okay. Change it.
Yeah.
If I don't like it, change it. It's changeable. It's not set in stone. We're always evolving. We're always growing. Let God or show you, and you do the work to remake who you are mentally.
I love that. I love that. I love that. Oh my goodness. We need a show specifically. I think we did a show a little on mental health, and I think we had Dr. Sean Knowles on there, but we have to do another show. I want to get some women on board to talk about mental health. So real quick, Chryshawnda, we literally have like a minute. Um but I know how important rest is, and but I want you to let others know the importance of rest.
Okay, so there are four different areas of well, but there may be more. But the main ones are usually diet, sleep, exercise, and stress. So those
Mhm.
are the things that you actually pay attention to
Mhm.
as relates to improving your well-being. And although sleep is not rest, it's very interconnected,
Mhm.
and you'd find that your body does its best work in a restful state.
Mhm.
And a lot
Yeah.
of people don't realize that. Sometimes you feel like you lose all your calories when you're actually moving. No, you actually lose a lot of calories when you're doing nothing too. And so,
I didn't know that.
yeah,
Mhm.
sleeping, oh yeah, you lose calorie even while you're sleeping.
Mm.
Yeah.
And so, rest is very important. That's how your body rejuvenates. That's how your body recalibrates.
Mhm.
So if you're not getting enough sleep, you find that your body may hold on to weight because that's also a trigger. It may feel like your body is being stressed
Mhm.
because you're not getting enough sleep. And so getting enough sleep is very important. And those hours, I think between 2 and 4 is when your body is actually doing that its best work. So if you're not sleeping between those hours, you're not giving your body the actual what it needs to
Mhm.
actually do the work that it does
Mhm.
during when you're sleeping. And so rest is very important. It's very, very important. I've coached clients who work a lot.
Mhm.
And so they find a hard time. It's very hard for them to actually take the back seat and just rest. And it's very hard for them to do that because we live in a culture where we are constantly
That's it.
moving, constantly working. We live in that work culture, the hustle and bustle.
Yeah.
And that's what's most important to us because we have to get the money, we have bills to pay, and and honestly, I feel like it's just that we live in an anxiety driven world
Yeah.
where
That's
we
it.
have to actually keep going,
That's it.
right? And so pay attention to when your body says it's time to draw back.
I
It's
love
time to
that.
take a minute. It's time
Mhm.
to rest. Be intuitive about what your body needs and take that time. Against sleep and rest, important. I mean, vital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After nutrition, even I would even say sleep is more important than exercise. If to me, get the sleep in, get the rest
Yeah.
in. The rest is important.
Listen, as we wrap up, I have a client who he's like, "Oh, I hang out with billionaires. I hang out with billionaires, a Bahamian. I hang out with billionaires." And you know what they taught me? They taught me that what sleeping, you don't get no money when you're sleeping. When you and you know You could hear the arrogance. I'm gonna be real. You could hear the arrogance in him, and I'm looking and I'm discerning all type of different spirits operating as he's speaking. You know what I mean? Oh, there's no need to rest. I said no, but what about? I said God asks us, requires us to rest. Even He rested on the seventh day. Oh,
100%.
rest, rest. I work on Sunday. I work on Saturday. I work on every day, Monday to Sunday. I don't get no rest. While y'all out there sleeping, you know what I doing? I in front of my computer, and he's bragging, and he's excited about what he's saying. And I hang on these billionaires, and that's what they're doing. That's what I'm doing too. And you see what I'm accomplishing, mind you. All right. Oh, I've seen some accomplishments because I'm in the sales and marketing here in this media company, and I've seen what he's doing and the businesses that he have. However, I'm looking at, okay, what about your health, sir?
You don't want
You
them to
know,
outlive you.
okay. What about, all these different things? 'Cause you could gain everything, and lose your soul simply by just simply not being obedient to what God is asking or
Yeah.
requiring us to do. You could have all these different things and all these different businesses, and yeah, you could be a billionaire, but it can't take you nowhere. I mean, when you can't take it with
You
you.
can't take it with
Yeah,
you.
Okay.
money can't buy you health. It can't. It can't buy you health, and it can't do much for you when you find yourself in a position to where your body has given out because
That's
Yeah.
it.
you've run it into the ground. So
And
you
not
can be
only that,
rich.
after you run your bodies into the ground, that same billions or whatever money that you have, you're probably going to use that in medical expenses anyway. All right. So that's why I think that you just look, you fine if you have that drive to work, fine, but still understand that resting is
Yeah.
needed and it's required.
I think we just
Okay.
need to learn, especially as a culture, balance isn't having a scale that's even, right? Balance is knowing where you're deprived in an area
Yeah.
and where you need to actually pull up in certain areas of your
Hmm.
well-being, your life and your
Hmm.
well-being. And so I think I call it harmony. It's not even balance, just creating that harmony in your life
Yeah.
where that there is an actual flow with all the things that,
Hmm.
whether it's sleep, whether it's working,
Hmm.
whether it's whatever it is,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Learning how to do that.
Listen, thank you, ladies. You have been just wonderful. I've learned so much. The listeners have learned so much from you. And just before closing, I would like for you to share any of your social media platforms so that people can know where to reach you, how to reach you, because there's so much. I know it's a lot of questions out there. It's a lot of questions that we haven't even had an opportunity to go through with the clients, the listeners or the Facebook audience. But if you can just share your social media information, they can reach out to you and ask whatever amount of questions they need to on their time. All right, go first, Coach T.
Yes, so my name is Coach Tiffany Sessions. I literally go by Coach T. I am on Facebook, I am on Threads, and I am on Instagram. And all of my handles is literally my name because it's very unique. So, ready, I'm going to spell it for you. It is TEFFINANY. And I promise you, I will be the only one that comes up, even if you get half of it. I would love to connect with you. I also have a page for The Whole Her, THEWHOLE, her. And that's literally what we talk about, just about everything we talk about here. I literally love to kind of break it down to generational from children to athletes to older age adults. All right. I look forward to hearing from you.
I love
Thanks.
that. Coach Krishanda.
My name is Chryshawnda Adams. I go by Coach Krish, and that is literally my Instagram handle, Coach Krish. You can find me on Instagram. On Facebook, I'm at Chryshawnda Adams on Facebook. I'm on Threads, but same thing, Coach Krish.
How do you spell your Krish?
Chris, Chrysh, because
Okay.
it is also a unique spelling.
Yeah, yeah.
I know that there are people with the same name, but it is a unique spelling. Um, and yeah, I'm also having a workshop on Monday, which is tomorrow
Hmm.
evening
Hmm.
at 7 p.m. About just planning your health and wellness goals, how to reach them, how to make them more a part of your lifestyle and for it to be more sustainable.
Is it virtual or
It is
in?
virtual,
Hmm.
so you can go to my Instagram page, click the link in my bio, and you can sign up there for it. And yeah, I run a coaching practice called Thrive Wellness and Nutrition, which was formerly Strong Her
Mm-hmm.
Academy.
Look at that.
I used to have an academy called Strong Her Academy where I teach women how to eat better, how to move more, and just develop a holistic lifestyle of health and
Yeah.
well-being. And yeah, so you can follow me on those pages. I'm also on there, Thrive Wellness and Nutrition.
Listen, Coach T and Coach Chryshawnda, y'all please connect because it's just so much similarities. I can't take it. It's
And
just too much,
and that's the one
And God is so intentional, and He's more intentional about kingdom connections than ever before. And I'm so glad to be like that little mediator, right? To make sure y'all connect
yeah.
because I know that this is not going to be the first nor the last. So thank you so much for being a part of
Yeah.
your Lane Talk show. You both added so much
Thank you
value to
so
this
much for
show, and I
having
Thank
thank
me.
you
you
so
so
much
much.
for being a part of it. Next week's show, ladies and gentlemen, because we do have men that tune in as well, is entitled Reigniting Your Love. Goal setting for stronger relationships with
Ooh,
Pastor Kevin and Mrs. Deidre Ewing. I'm excited about that.
nice.
We all about goals, right?
Hmm.
All right. So as we close, as a relationship coach and founder of Your Lane Life Coaching, my mission is to guide individuals and couples toward building stronger, more fulfilling relationships grounded in purpose and understanding. At Your Lane Life Coaching, I help you navigate the challenges of love and life by focusing on effective communication, deepening connections, and aligning with God's purpose for your relationships. Whether you're single, dating, married, or in a season of rebuilding, my goal is to help you find clarity, healing, and growth. If you're ready to invest in yourself and take the next step towards a thriving relationship, let's connect. Together, we'll create and customize a plan to help you stay in your lane and live the life that God has called you to. Go to my website, www.yourlanelifecoaching.com, for more information, or you can give us a call at 1-242-376-8689. Thank you so much for Your Lane Talk Show sponsors. We have John Shoe Store and Accessories, Your Lane Life Coaching, Mahatma Rice, distributed by Asa H. Pritchard. If you're cooking peas and rice, Konkan rice, yellow or white rice, for the best results, it's must be Mahatma rice. Look for Mahatma Gold, long grain, jasmine, basmati, yellow rice, or for your healthier option, Mahatma brown rice in a food store near you. Mahatma rice distributed by Asa H. Pritchard. We're also sponsored by Emmanuel Medical Center, specializing in annual physicals, health certificates, hypertension, diabetes, and cholesterol management, child and adolescent health care, primary health care for adults, screening and management of sexually transmitted infections, and diagnosis and treatment for mental disorders. Emmanuel Medical Center is helping you achieve wellness. And of course, if you want to, give them a call at 393-9355 if you have additional information. And guess what? Speaking of Emmanuel Medical Center, you know how February is a love month, right? So and this hit me good. Like one of the shows for February is going to be about sexually transmitted diseases, sexually transmitted infections. I don't know where I come from because everybody talking about love, but of course this is mostly targeting. This is important because we got some statistics about STDs last week, and so I just want to ensure that we are aware of this since we're in the love month because most babies conceive within the month of February, but we ain't going there. All right. And so we're also brought to you by YBE Promotions. YBE Promotions is having a Praise Fest concert. He's in the Room, featuring Maverick City's Naomi Rain and friends, coming up Friday, January 31st. Also performing are Bahamian artists Oslane Jadort, Davian Chase, E-Man, my girl Carity Newton, and so much more. Music is by DJ Godson. This is going to be a hot show at the Nassau Cruise Port Amphitheater. Tickets start at $75. You can get your tickets at New Birth Ministries, Fire Trail Road, and Classy Cuts Beauty Salon, East Street South. All right. So, of course, I did promise you that if you tune into the show and you took some notes, that I'll be able to ask a question and that you'll be able to put in the answer. So, my question for today is, give me three notes or nuggets that you received from today's show pertaining to your health and fitness. Okay. And it can be points from Coach T or points from Coach Chryshawnda. But if you text 3768689 and give me three juicy tips, not something like, child, you got to drink water. Because first of all, they ain't even top of water. We ain't even top of water today. So what you talking about? You ain't getting that ticket. Try again, sis. All right. So things that I know for a fact what we talk about. So you tell me, text the number 376-8689. What are three significant points from these two wonderful coaches? And those two VIP tickets are yours. Simple. All right. To the businesses out there, if you wish to sponsor your Lane Talk show, you can do so. Give us a call 242-376-8689. We have some awesome packages to suit your budget. Thank you once again to my beautiful nutrition health coaches, to our one and only DJ Beats, who always holding it down. Thank you so much for your Lane Talk Show guests, and of course our new listening audience. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that this is not your last time. Come and be a part of the show again. It's very informative, very funny, because we humorous. I'm a humorous person. Yeah, I toot my horn today. All right. And plus there's so much to learn here. And I pray that you were all empowered, educated, and encouraged today. And until next time, I pray that you have a beautiful Sunday. God bless you and have a nice week. Until next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.